Welcome back to Fitness or Fiction. Today, we are going to be talking about 4 questions that are really important for new exercisers.
The last essential questions.
Yes, indeed.
Do you want to just bang them out?
Yeah, how often do I need a rest day? How do I stay motivated? What's the third one here? How do I measure my progress? And
is there anything else I should do to take care of my health aside from exercise?
That's right. Is there anything else I should do outside of exercise? I think this is going to be good.
Someone cue the intro.
Welcome back to Fitness or Fiction, a podcast dedicated to cutting through the hype of the health and fitness industry.
Every week, we dig into a new topic and help you wade through the real information to make solid decisions on your fitness journey.
How often do I need a rest day? This is an interesting question. I like it.
What's the answer?
It depends, of course.
Man, these questions.
Well, how hard are you working is the real question. Like, do you innately need rest days, and what actually creates a rest day? Does that mean that you're not doing anything? Like, are you...
Netflix.
Netflix and chill
is a rest day. At least 6 hours of Netflix is a rest day appropriately.
Right, yeah. So I think the way you define a rest day is super important. A rest day is oftentimes it's going to be looked at as days where you're not actually implying a stimulus that's so challenging to deal with that your body would need to recover from that in a separate time. When you look at things like cardiovascular training, if you're doing 25 minutes of cardio at like 60 to 70% heart rate, you don't need recovery from that.
That is a rest day.
That is recovery in itself. So like, how often do I need a rest day? It's going to depend how hard you're working. What do you think are some signs that somebody might need to take a rest day?
Some good signs. That's a good question, actually. I don't know.
How about when your sleep goes to crap? Okay, so listen, I'll run you through my day yesterday. Yesterday, I did an hour and a half workout, a really hard workout. I took my kids skiing for just over an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went to a jiu-jitsu class. So I had in the neighborhood of 3.5 hours of movement yesterday, targeted movement. Last night, I usually sleep like a champ. Last night, I woke up about 5 times, just random, woke up, fell right back asleep, but I'm having these periods of wakefulness. That tells me I should probably not do too much today.
That's interesting, yeah. I wouldn't actually attribute like a deteriorating sleep into requiring a rest day. For me, a sign was like abnormal or excessive joint pain. I was getting that when we were in LA and we were like working out like
2 days.
We were weightlifting in the gym in the morning, then going to do calisthenics at the pier all day, and my elbows and shoulders were just screaming at me from like monkey bars to jumping. What were we doing? Like jumping chin-ups and flying across bars, and then doing snatches and cleans and jerks like throughout the day. And like, yeah, my elbows and shoulders were just cooked. Like every day we went. Yeah,
and see, for me, that's on the same sort of level. When your sleep starts deteriorating, it's often a sign that you need to recover a little bit better. When your digestion starts deteriorating, it's often a good sign that you need to back off or recover. And then when your physical sensations like muscular pain or joint pain start getting to be what I would call undue. So like, not I worked out yesterday, but like I'm having a hard time getting around.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so I probably shouldn't target those muscles today with anything outside of just low-level cardio.
Yeah. Excessive soreness that lasts more than 3 days.
Yeah. So those are kind of the canaries in the coal mine.
Digestion's a hard one, though, because everyone I talk to has digestive problems right now. Everyone's like IBS or gluten or dairy or lactose, like whatever the case may be. So I feel like that's a really hard one to just pinpoint on your stress or exercise or...
Yeah, that is hard to pinpoint. But when you start seeing like notable changes, for me, I eat pretty boring. Like I don't really have gluten or dairy or whatever. And because of that, I'm pretty normal. Like for me, I know exactly what to expect in a day, you know?
Yeah.
And if it's outside of that, I know. So for the average person, when they start looking at like their digestion and stuff, it's like, well, is this pretty normal for me, or is this a little bit further down the line?
Yeah.
And when things are notably changing, that's a really good sign that something needs to be adjusted.
That's a struggle too, though, because like physiological stress with like paired with like mental stress can also affect the digestive tract as well. So like you kind of have to almost be in tune with yourself and know where you're at and what's actually causing you.
But you're totally right. It's all stress, right?
Stress is stress.
So should you be working as hard when you're in a period of big stress, work-wise or family-wise or things like that?
Yeah.
It's like, well, your body's going to tell you when you've hit your point of maximal stress.
Yeah.
So I would say bigger than this question is, how do you program for yourself? And you should have a program that incorporates the right amount of workouts per week and the right intensities, and it should vary. Now, that's hard if you're not super involved in programming and things like that, but if you write something down and you go do it and you start noticing changes in your digestion and your sleep and all of these sort of things, that's really a good sign that, like, well, you know what? I've gone hard for a bit. Now I should probably back off.
Yeah.
Right? So you can auto-regulate this stuff, but my thing is awareness. You gotta pay attention if you wanna help your program be what it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give your body more stress than it can handle, and those are a few things that would let you know there's something going on.
Yeah. And that's a tough one too, because, you know, if you do have a lot of like work stress or family stress or personal stress,
or all of the above,
the gym can be a great stress relief.
That's
and
right.
People want to go in there and try to take it out on themselves and beat themselves up, and then it can just be a compounding problem. Like, it makes you feel better in the moment, but it might compound problems tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah, you know, I've had a lot of people say, oh, this is not mental health work. It's not the same as therapy. I'm like, absolutely it's not the same as therapy. That's crazy. But it is a physiological challenge that's going to allow you to express strength and feel better chemically.
Mm-hmm.
So no, it's not doing all the hard work of therapy. It's not that. But it can be something that helps you work out some anxiety and whatever else. It's just a matter of when you start getting diminishing returns for how much it's helping versus how much it's harming, you need to start adjusting the thing. But for me, usually the problem is people aren't working hard enough. Usually.
Yeah. I was going to like try to summarize this, speaking for everyone in the room, not
of
just
course.
myself.
Yes.
In regards to rest days, I think people almost take advantage of a rest day, being like, when you say people aren't working hard enough, I think people milk the rest days too much, because I think that you can be active 7 days a week. I think every day you can do something, and a rest day could be taking an hour-long walk in the neighborhood with the loved ones.
Correct.
Or with the dog who is loved one. But it could be swimming. It could be, for me, a rest day is just like skipping in the gym. Like, I'll skip and watch some shows or do some light cardio on the rower. Like, that's a rest day to me.
Absolutely. Rest and recovery should be side to side, like back and forth. They're the exact same thing. And in a lot of ways, a rest day doesn't mean that you do nothing.
Yeah.
It means that you're allowing your body inputs that are going to help you restore tissues. And that's what that really means.
So 7 days a week, like, you can be moving 7 days a week.
Yeah.
To what intensity?
Should you lift weights to failure 7 days a week? Likely not. You could probably get away with it if you programmed it right, but it's going to be tough for you to recover from. So
yeah, it is.
End of the day, 4 or 5 days of kind of hard work are going to be pretty optimal. And then your days in between, you can do things to help you recover those tissues. You can work on mobility. You can work on cardiovascular stuff. You can work on relaxation and meditation.
I actually classify that as a rest day myself.
Absolutely.
Like, if I do meditation, focus on meditation or light stretching or mobility work, like meditation is a rest day to me. It's hard.
Recovery and restoration, baby. I'm into it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, what's the next one, champ?
I don't know. What's the next one? You got the notes.
The next one would be, is there anything else outside of exercising that I can do?
That's the last one, Curtis.
Well, it's the last one, but it fits with this one better.
You just pulled it out of your brain.
Well, they're all in my brain. Come on now.
Anything else you can do? I think mastering the basics is the most important thing that you can wrap your health around. And mastering the basics, everyone wants the life hack or the multivitamin or the supplement that's going to boost you or benefit you the most. For me, it's mastering the basics. I actually tell people when they come and first see me, if their goal is like, I want to lose weight, even if I want to build muscle, and I want to work out 5 days a week, I'm like, why don't you work out 3 days a week and do really high quality meal prep on the other 2 days? Because the meal prep, in my opinion, is more of a pain in the ass.
It is, yeah.
It actually requires more time, in my opinion, as well. If you want to make nice, delicious meals and not eat like a caveman like you do. You just rip a chicken leg off the chicken and start eating it. Maybe a little bit of fire just to kind of like burn the wings off. No, but like, so high quality meal prep, doing that 2 days, like 2 times a week, keeps the meals relatively fresh, and you're going to make sure that your body's getting what it needs. So thinking of your meal prep as a workout itself, even the hardest workout, in my opinion, is a good way of approaching your health. And then hydration, sleep, basics.
Well, we could break it into pillars really easy. Like you have your physical exertion.
BCAAs.
Yeah, you got your EAAs, your BCAAs, your ALAs.
That's a meme in my head.
Yeah, all sorts of stuff. No, the
pillars.
If we broke it into pillars, it would be like, okay, so you have your physical exertion. Okay, there's a lot of exercise that would fall into physical exertion. You have your recovery/rest. I like to say recovery better, because we're always doing something. There's no such thing as just hard stop, and recovery tells that story a bit better for me. As part of that, you could say, well, food is its own thing. It is part of recovery, but it also fuels your workout, so it would be its own thing, food, right? So physical exertion, recovery, food, and then we could say sleep. And, proper sleep habits are really challenging. Like just making sure that you're set up to go to bed at a similar time. Having a schedule actually allows your body to do a variety of valuable things. Making sure you're having restful sleep. A lot of people, magnesium before bed is a good idea, depending. But those kind of 4 pillars, that's what should I really focus on outside of exercise? It's like, well,
basics,
recovery, food, and sleep. And outside of that, it's like, well, you would likely say something along the lines of personal development. How do you build into yourself more outside of the physical realm? Well, personal development. And that's going to encompass all sorts of things, like learning a new skill, providing yourself new challenges, giving back. Like there's a lot of things in there.
Yeah.
But like if you wanted to make a nice, clean 5 pillars, I'd say, personal development, physical exertion, recovery, food, and sleep. And that's a pretty well-balanced thing to say, yeah?
Yeah. Sleep was an interesting one that I think actually try to actually have proper sleep habits. I think most people struggle with that. And I speak for everyone in the room.
You love speaking for everybody. It's your favorite.
No, I've actually tried to do this myself, and thus far I've been failing miserably. So maybe I'll do better because I call myself out. But limiting screen time, 2 hours before bedtime.
That's my worst.
Hard.
I fall asleep to Seinfeld at night.
Yeah, so
and
limiting
5
screen
minutes
time,
and I'm out.
Dimming the room, doing some high mind activity, like reading something that you enjoy to actually calm your nervous system down. Not playing video games like World of Warcraft like Eric does, or nerd.
I can't play video games. I'll stay up. If I watch a movie I haven't seen, I'll stay up. That's why I watch Seinfeld, because I know every episode inside and out, and 5 minutes I'm out.
Bro, that's what I do with Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I've been watching that with Sarah. Yeah.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I'll pass out to boom, like a baby.
Did you see the one where he had the lineup do the Backstreet Boys?
Yeah.
Oh, man. It was so good.
That's the guy who did this to me.
Yeah.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we were trying to find
So proper sleep, that's not just sleeping for 8 hours. And most people are I only need 5 hours sleep. You probably need more. Yeah, you can function off of 5, but at the end of the day, you would probably be filling the tank with premium gas if you wind it down properly before bed and got more sleep than you think you need. And it might take the body some time to actually figure out what's going on in these changes that you're making, but you'll benefit in the long run from it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think those 5 pillars are pretty clean. I'm actually sitting here being yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna draw a picture.
No, yeah, we can break those 5 pillars apart a little bit more in a future segment. But the other
speaking of pillars, before you move on, have you seen the Netflix documentary called Stutz? No. So you know who Jonah Hill is?
Yeah.
Jonah Hill made a documentary about his therapist on how he helped him with his mental health. And this therapist was, at the start of the episode, he's I'm not the therapist that's just going to listen to you and be oh, yeah, that sounds hard. Okay, cool, have a nice day. He's I want to provide you with solutions because I feel that people need to actually know that they can improve and be better. And he actually drew a pyramid, not pillars, but he drew a pyramid similar to what you're saying. And he said, the biggest area of opportunity for people to work on their mental health was their physical health first. And that was, he's oh yeah, it's I will not work with a patient if they're not exercising. He's
Fair.
If my patient is not exercising and they're not open to exercising, I'm not open to helping them. So the bottom of this pillar was exercise and nutrition. And I think the third pillar was social,
social interaction.
Social interaction, go join a club or give back to your community or volunteer or whatever. I'm honestly going to butcher it. The second one, and the last one was work on yourself, though, work on your own mental problems. Because he's if you lock in your nutrition, sleep, and rest, and you walk, your exercise, lock in your social connections, your family, friends, loved ones, giving back to the community. The third one I'm spaced on, and the last one is work on yourself. It's boom. It's that's the way. I think you should watch it. It's pretty good.
I'm into it.
Stuts.
No, I like that.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, so the other two things are, oh man, what are they? I keep forgetting them. One of them is, how do I stay motivated?
Yes.
So how do I stay motivated?
I feel like this motivation topic has been beat to death personally, because if you've ever researched it or looked into it, you see all the guys on the internet like David Goggins or Jocko Willink, all these like really intense avid exercisers who are like, I'm not motivated. I just like, I do what needs to be done regardless of circumstance. Like that's discipline over motivation.
Habits and behaviors trump motivation. I've done a lot of talks on this. Habits and behaviors trump motivation every single time, because motivation is a variable thing. It's not always going to be the same. You're going to have low motivation some days, and your discipline to execute habits and behaviors is what's going to lead to your success better. Mm-hmm. So, how do I stay motivated? We did a whole episode on this. Like, you need to attach what you're doing to your why. Why is this something that has value? What's it taking me towards, and what's it taking me away from?
Yeah.
If you have that, then you identify the right habits and behaviors, and you discipline yourself to actually do it. I talked to a client today that said, I'm supposed to go work out right now, but I just laid down and I've been here for 20 minutes scrolling. And I was like, get up and go right now.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with him. I'm like, go right now, go.
Yeah.
You just had 20 minutes in your day that you blipped. It was like COVID in 20 minutes. Boom. In the last 2 years were a blip.
Yeah.
So the big thing with motivation, we've talked about this on other podcasts, and you should definitely look into those ones. But at the end of the day, it's really a basic concept of like, okay, why does this have value for me? What am I going towards? What am I trying to get away from? And what are the habits and behaviors I've identified that I've committed to doing? That's why I'm going to do it, period.
Yeah.
And the more that you just do it and stop negotiating with yourself, the more it's going to get easier.
Yeah. Sprinkle a little bit of salt on the entree you just provided. I think limiting resistance. Yeah, Salt Bay. Limiting a little bit of resistance to like creating less of a barrier to entry to actually making that happen, regardless of what it is, helps. How could you limit resistance to actually?
Yeah, so there's sociological resistance. So that's family relationships and things. Family and friends aren't always super encouraging when you undertake something. For instance, I've had a lot of people that their family and friends will be like, oh, you're going to get hurt. You need to back off. And it's like, man, they're not educated. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just because they're used to that person being the fat person in the family or the person who's out of shape or whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. So they're not always going to be the most supportive. And especially when they're not, you need to try to figure out how to limit that. So maybe don't ask their opinion anymore, right? Maybe find somebody who is supportive that you're going to speak to about that. And then physical limitations, you're going to try to find a gym that fits into your routine. Like it fitting into your schedule is just as important as how good it is the gym. It can be a crappy gym that fits in your schedule, and it'll get the job done.
You know, it's something that's been making me feel good, and it's silly, and it's a little bit bro-ish, but if I'm not able to actually hit the gym and do like one of my workouts of whatever it may be, whether it's resistance training or cardio or whatever the case, if I can't hit the gym at all, I like bare minimum, I do 100 push-ups, and I normally do it when I'm hanging out with Jackson. And guaranteed every time I finish those 100 push-ups, it's normally an accumulation. Like I'll do like 40, then 30, then 20, right? And I'll kind of just accumulate to 100. I always feel way better when they're done.
40, 30, 20, 10?
Yeah. But I honestly, it changes my... I had to go to a baby shower a couple weeks ago, and I was like actually feeling down and out and not very interested in going out to it. Hit 100 push-ups, and like my mood shifted instantly. Changed, felt better.
Yeah, well, at the end of the day, when it comes to motivation, the removal of barriers is a big deal. And there can be relational barriers, there can be physical barriers, there can be planning barriers. So like, how am I going to get my food in? How am I going to do the rest of my schedule if I'm doing a workout today? Am I going to have my gym clothes ready? Where am I going to put those? When am I going to wash them? There's all these barriers that you can deal with. But if you just write down all the things that would stop you, you can deal with those one by one.
Yeah.
Make it as easy as possible, and that's the way. But when it comes to motivation, we've kind of beat that topic up, so we'll leave that one alone. The last one, and the reason I wanted to finish with this one is because I've been asked this question recently. How do I monitor my progress? And I've actually had a client look at me and say, how are you monitoring my progress? And I'm like, man, that's a beautiful question, and I love it. Monitoring your progress can be done in a variety of ways. You can monitor performance, so like cardiovascular strength performance, which is usually pretty easily done. Are you moving forward? And that's a good thing to measure. For me, what I like to do is look at quality more. So like, how can they maintain quality through a set and through a workout? Tells me a lot. What does the cadence and the positioning look like when they're in these drills? And in a lot of cases, I can tell that their strength is going up just based on the quality of execution.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, I could give you that same weight and you could make it look twice as good, and I know you're stronger.
Yeah.
So this is something that I think when it comes down to monitoring your progress, it's like, yeah, you can choose a lot of different metrics, but the one that's going to be most important is the one that means the most to you. For me, something that's really consistent, whether it's a mobility goal or a strength goal or a cardio goal, is quality. Like even in cardio, when you see somebody, I'm trying to improve my, say, 100-meter or 500-meter sprint time. It's like, well, I can see you hold your gait together longer. You're likely going to be faster anyways.
Yeah.
Like almost assuredly so. So for me, it's quality. What would you say to that question?
Measuring progress, well, there's the standards, like you said, just like performance. I think those are the easy ones. For me, it's a lot of measuring progress is, I was actually going through this on my True Coach software. That's like the software we utilize to train our clients. I was just looking at completed workouts in general, regardless whether you got stronger or not. Like I was looking at some of my clients' profiles. I'm like, damn, you completed 700 workouts with me. Like, imagine where you'd be if you never did those 700 workouts. Like probably in a way worse boat than you are now. So even if we were not progressively seeing results like nonstop because you're not on the Liver King cycle, man, like it was crazy. And I just started going through all my clients. I was like, damn, 700 workouts, damn, 500 workouts completed, holy crap. I'm like, these need to be celebrated. And I had to tell them, like, damn, like the progress of you just getting shit done regardless of circumstance, like making sure that it happened, checking compliance to the workouts after like 3 months, like, you know, in 3 months' time, you completed 98% of your workouts, and you left quality notes. Like you like trusted the process and you just followed through. Like that's high level.
Yeah, I had a client that was telling me like, oh, what else do I need to do to get, you know, better results and all this sort of stuff. And should I take more supplements? Should I do this? Should I do that? I was like, dude, you're gonna hate me for this, but the answer is consistency.
Yeah.
Like you have 5 workouts a week to do. When's the last time you did all 5? And good. You didn't just check them off. You did them good every set. He's like, ooh. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that means
so
more.
get consistent. Three months later, he has people being like, hey, man, why do you look so good?
Yeah.
His workouts didn't change. Just the way he was doing them changed.
I've done pop quizzes with people. Not even pop quizzes. It wasn't meant to be a pop quiz, but I just know what people are capable of. And we're like, okay, well, we have our chest day today. We're going to start with 100 push-ups. I'm like, what? Like, they think I'm out to lunch. Because I know you find this too. Often I know what people are capable of, and I have more faith in them than they do themselves.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Like, I know you're stronger than what you think you are. I'm like, yeah, we're going to start with 100 push-ups. We're going to do 10 sets of 10. It's going to be easy, like 30-second breaks in between, just bang, 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 bang. And he thought I was out to lunch. He thought he was going to die at 40. 100 later, he was like, holy damn. Like, if that's not a measure, like, that's in your face, like, measure of progress, like, pie to the face. Like, you didn't even think it was possible, and we just kind of popped it out, right?
And I love doing that. You've seen me do this multiple times where somebody's having a hard time lifting something. I go and do it cold, and I'm like, I'm not that much stronger than you. All I'm doing is showing you that this is doable. The weight isn't beating you. You are. Like, I believe in you more than you do. You're stronger than you think.
Yeah.
Yes, it feels heavy. That doesn't mean you can't do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, just that change can be a big deal. But,
well, you know, I was watching a Mike Tyson documentary, and he said the thing that changed his entire life was just having his coach. He's like, my coach believed in me more than anybody else, like more than I believed in myself. And was his name Cuss? He's like Cuss believed in me, like anything he did. Like, he had so much faith in me, I just believed him. Like, he's got to have the answers, and if he thinks I can do it, then I could probably do it. So I'm just going to keep pushing. And having somebody just, I don't think most people have that in their life. That's what I was thinking when I was watching this. Like, not many people have somebody just blindly, just ferociously pushing you forward with like pure, true love, like unconditional support.
yeah, and it is something that's hugely beneficial. Like, I was talking to a parent the other day, and I was saying, okay, have you ever said to your kids, do you know how much I love you? And they said no. She said, yeah. And I said, why do you think they did that? She's like, well, I don't know, because I tell them all the time. I'm like, no, they wanted to hear it again. That's all. They just wanted to hear it again.
Yeah.
Tell them. Like, people are looking for that in a lot of scenarios. I don't want to say everybody, but people are often looking for something like that because there is a sense of safety there that you don't get anywhere else. And I think when we talk about how valuable coaching is, it's hard for me to not get behind that as a concept of a coach. Believe in the best version of your people and watch them rise up. It's awesome. My 4-year-old did the entire hill at COP on his 3rd run on skis. And that was 2 nights ago. I came home yesterday. Daddy, can we go skiing? I was like, no, man, we're
on a rest day.
Yeah, okay. So we went, and 2nd day in a row, he didn't feel like he needed a day off because he trained legs yesterday, right?
Yeah.
But for him, it's like, yeah, we can go. And why was he comfortable doing the entire hill right away? Because his brother and me are looking at him, being like, you're awesome. You can do it. Absolutely. Yeah. And he did. He's on edges already. He's killing it. But watching that happen, I think that if people get someone behind them and they get involved in training themselves and understanding what they're capable of, I think a lot of their life would change, which is why I still do what I do.
Yeah. Interesting.
And you do too, and I know it, because you're a beauty.
You stop.
Right.
Well, I think that's the wrap-up of these last essential fitness questions.
Yeah, if you have any other questions that you would consider essential that we didn't really touch on, let us know. I know there's a couple here that touched on a few things we've done before, but I think for some of you that haven't heard the previous talk on that issue, go back and have a listen, because some of this motivation stuff, it seems like it's so simple, and I don't want to dismiss it and say it's so simple, but like once you realize that there's the habits and behaviors trump everything else, just forming those and removing the barriers to allow those to happen is really the game. It really changes your perspective, because you'll realize that you can do it even when you don't feel motivated to do it, which kind of wraps it up into, believe in yourself and have other people believe in you. Put people around you that believe in you, and you'll be surprised what can happen.
Well, if you have any other questions for us, we'll just answer it depends. Until then, have a nice day. Thanks for joining us this week. We appreciate your support.
If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you would subscribe, follow, and throw us a like on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts.